Welcome everyone to Taste Different Gaming Appetizers, and tonight we're going to talk about Starbreeze and them increasing the price of Payday 2's infamous collection as it launches also a $5 monthly subscription for their DLC on Steam. So people aren't happy. So let me share out this article and we'll kind of run through it here. This is an IGN article that we found, kind of the best one that kind of summed all this stuff up. So let's share this article and kind of go through all of this. So as you guys can see, like I said, it's a IGN article. So in this one, Payday 2 developer has introduced a new subscription service, which is kind of weird to me that they did it for Payday 2, but it is what it is, right? Payday 3 did not do so well. I think we barely put a weekend into that one. We gave the old college try, but, just like college, it didn't work out. So as it says, their 12-year-old heist shooter bundling full access to more than 65 DLCs. And as we know, most of those DLCs is just different weapons and cosmetics. Obviously, they had new heists and things like that. And it says for the low cost of $4.99. I hate that we still do that, right? $4.99. It's just $5, folks. $19.99 is still $20 to most of us. So the company said that the subscription will allow players to explore Payday 2's massive content library at their own pace, mastering the art of heists one crime at a time. And the subscription available via Steam can be canceled anytime. So instead of having to pay out whatever you're going to pay out for each individual DLC, you can pay $5 1 month, try them all out, and do what you will. I have not looked at Payday 2 in a very long time, so I don't know how good it looks. I'm a little bit of a graphics snob, so it may look bad to me, and I'm like, I can't really do this right. I need to do a remaster or something on it. So the article goes on to say that, with more than a decade of content behind Payday 2, we want to give players greater flexibility in how they experience the game, said Gustav, the head of their commercial at Starbreeze. The subscription service makes it simple and cost-effective to enjoy everything Payday 2 has to offer, whether you're new to the game or returning to explore DLCs you haven't yet played. At the time, all existing DLCs remain available for purchase as before. This is about giving players more choice. So, more choice, good or bad, however you want to look at it. If you never played it and this is your foray into it, it sounds like the $5 a month after you get through all the base content might be good to try for 1 month, right? Instead of having to buy all the DLCs individually. So there's all kinds of stuff in this article, it talks about that. So it says, crucially, however, the terms of the subscription indicate it only applies to all of the currently available Payday 2 DLCs as long as you're subscribed, which that should be a no-brainer, right? Leaving some of the players wondering if it will cover any potential new DLCs yet to come, as Starbreeze is still periodically releasing new content for the game, most recently with the Crude Awakening heist in 2023. I would hope for $5 that it would include that new content, right? So it says, I understand the idea, and in fairness, it's not a terrible one. The new players can subscribe for a month, see what's all about without fully committing. Commented one player. Some play the game on and off, and so instead of spending all the dosh at once, they subscribe for a month. They want to play. Yeah, I mean, that's what I would agree with, right? Subscribe when you're ready to try it out and move on. So it says the issue is the DLC bundle was hyped recently. The DLC isn't all that spectacular, and some of the DLC is priced stupidly for the little content it has. Like having 2 to 3 guns for $10.95 Australian dollars, for example. That's ridiculous. Which, yeah, makes sense, right? So, I mean, we've got plenty of games like that. If you play into Stellaris or any of the Firaxis games or anything like that, or any of those games that have just crap tons of DLCs, it makes no rhyme or reason. One DLC will be $9, has a crap ton of content. Next thing you know, the next one's like $17, and it's like some skins and a story, and you're like, where'd that come from? So I can understand that. So it says this is one of those times where they kind of can't read the room, almost like the time they promised no DLC for Payday 2, then backtrack. I think they promised no DLC for Payday 2 because they thought Payday 3 was going to just take over, and Payday 3 kind of just was dead on arrival, right?
And they meant like no future
Yeah.
DLC? Is that what they meant?
Yeah, no future. Promise no DLC for Payday 2, then backtrack. Right? Everybody, some developers do that too, right? They're like, oh, we have no plans on creating new content for this, and then they're like, this game blew up. I think we can make new content for this and make money. So all this ago, the bundle that they're referring to is the Payday Infamous collection, Payday 2 Infamous, the bundle that contained every DLC released since 2013. Because although it openly announced a subscription and its cost, Starbreeze has quietly increased the price of the Infamous collection by 50%, going from $100 to $150 without formal notification. So, I mean, I feel that's obviously a ploy, right? Like, we're either going to get you for $5 or $150. Their hope is that you'll subscribe to $5 and forget about it, right? Because you're like, hey, $5 is more affordable than $150. So I don't know. I'm a little bit torn on that. We can kind of get into that too as we go on. So it also goes on to mention also with the recent new heist for Payday 3 being more expensive than usual, how do we know that the same won't happen for Payday 3 with its DLCs and DLC packs in the future? It seems like, and the rest of this stuff is kind of just going into people being upset and things like that. So I'll just kind of jump in just a little bit before I pass this on to Nick. It seems like this generation of gaming consoles and games itself has kind of flipped the script. We used to see that as games age and as consoles age, that prices went down like considerably, right? It seems like nowadays that's just not true. Console prices are going up 5 years after the console's released instead of going down. Games aren't going on sale as often as they used to, and that's why you're seeing like rises of like CD keys and these other sites gaining more popularity. Because even unless sometimes I get on the Steam, I'm like, that thing's only 10% off, when usually after a year that game would have been like 30-40% off with nobody buying it. So it seems like the sales aren't as good as what they used to, but also that prices of things have gone up. It is kind of odd for the cost of a game itself or a DLC to kind of jump up on its own, right? That seems very nefarious to me. But they did say that DLC, the Payday 2 Infamous, was what? I don't remember when that bundle was initially released. Did it say 2023 or something? I don't remember when the Payday 2 Infamous collection was released, but maybe it's been a couple of years. I know they've added some DLC last year and this year, but or last year, not this year, not in 2025, 2024, 2023. But I don't think they released $50 worth of new content. So, Nick, what do you think about this, man? What do you think about the subscription, a DLC subscription, which almost feels like going back to MMO times? We have an MMO, we have some expansions, and then we have a monthly fee so you can gain access to this content. How do you feel about this? It almost seems like now that they broke up the value meal into so many more pieces, they're going back and saying, well, no, those pieces aren't good enough. I need you to pay a subscription before you can access some of this other stuff. I don't know. It seems like double dipping to me almost, except for you don't have to buy the DLC and the subscription. You can buy one or the other, but jacking the price up to the DLC just seems nefarious to me.
Yeah. It does. Like if they introduced this subscription service and that was all they did, and kept the Infamous collection the same price, then that would be, of course they want to jack up the price so that way you'll subscribe instead. Now Steam does offer a 6-month option and it's on sale right now for $20. So if you're thinking about it, it's a good idea if they do have a lot of DLC, right? Right now, the Infamous collection is on sale on Steam for $83.48 for all the DLC that's included in there. So that's still a hefty price tag. So if you wanted to try it out for yourself, try out the DLC, you could spend $5 or even right now spend $20 for 6 months, half a year of trying all the DLC out and then just cancel that subscription, right? So instead of spending $83, you spend $20 and be able to try all that out. And then you could pick and choose what DLC you wanted to purchase maybe in the future if you want to keep playing it or whatever the case may be. Yeah, I think part of it has to do with maybe Starbreeze, especially with Payday 3 not really working out for them like they were hoping for. They're kind of resting back on the Payday 2 laurels, and they didn't drop the subscription service for Payday 3, right? They dropped it for the second game.
Not yet, though, right?
Not yet. The only thing that worries me, right, is I don't want this to become commonplace among developers, where instead of dropping DLC, they drop subscription services and say, hey, we got 2 years of DLC coming to the game. And in order to get it, you got to drop $5 a month, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like something like that to guarantee, or not to really guarantee,
Right.
but I mean, they would have to be, on one side, the developer would have to be very consistent with that content, right? If people are going to pay monthly for it. But on the second hand, are they going to sell it a la carte? And if they are, then if they're going to introduce a subscription service, that just means that all the a la carte items are going to be much more expensive than they are now, right? And some DLC is pretty dang expensive. Now, the Infamous collection is an expensive DLC collection, but there are 65 pieces of DLC in it. So I don't know what all this DLC consists of. If there's additional heists in these, or if they're just character packs and stuff like that. I'm not sure what all of it. I mean, because there's, like I said, 65 pieces. So
it's a mix of it. Yeah, it's like additional heists, some guns, some cosmetics, things like that.
Yeah, so there's a lot of DLC in there. So I guess if you wanted to get the entire, I mean, still $150 is a lot for.
Well, and I believe that they didn't specifically call it out, but that has to be Australian dollars because it's only 120. It's 122.52, which is weird.
Oh, okay.
122.52. It is, but it's on sale for like $88 US right now. 84, sorry, 84.92 US. So
mine's 83.48.
What are you seeing?
Oh, because I own Payday 2.
Okay,
because it includes Payday 2,
and I don't have Payday 2 on Steam.
Yeah.
So yeah, you get a discount. So
yeah.
I
don't own any DLC, but I own the game.
I don't own any of these shows. So a lot of these are like on sale for 79 cents. But they're saying that the DLC complete is $176.65 USD if it wasn't on sale, but Payday 2 has been out long enough that most people aren't buying anything Payday 2 without it being on sale.
Right. And I would assume that most people, not everybody, but most people that still play Payday 2 nowadays, I would assume are going to be either people that have been playing it since it released, like diehards, right? I don't know how many, without having statistics, I don't know how many new players are going to jump into Payday 2 to play that, because Payday 3 may have been their first game. And if they didn't like Payday 3, then the odds of them jumping into Payday 2 are going to be very small, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately,
even though 2 is a better game, it still is going to put a sour taste in their mouth, and they're not going to want to.
Don't let 3 ruin you if you haven't played 2, because
2 is we played a lot more of 2 than we did 3. So even though we didn't know any of the DLCs, I know all 3 of us, me, Pat, and Shane, played quite a bit of at least a week's worth, at least a lot longer than Payday 3 of Payday 2. Yeah. So it's a much better game. But yeah, I don't know how many new people would come in for this. So this seems to target only those that still, and it seems there's still a strong community for it, but it only targets that community, right? I'm wondering how many new players moved over to Payday 2 from 3 or just in general, right? Or how many new players they get on average, right? I mean, maybe more when it's on sale, because right now it is on sale. So
yeah, and I mean, right now I just looked at the Steam charts and it says there's 23,000 players playing Payday 2.
That's a good amount.
33,000 24-hour peak. Yeah, so I mean, that's over the course of 7 days. So
and that game came out in 2013. So it's still doing really well. There's still a pretty good community behind it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, like, I'm not too like, pissed about what they're doing or anything like that. It's not really like that big of a deal. Not because I don't play Payday 2, but because it's like, I could see it being something that you could utilize if you wanted to take a month or two. It's a lot cheaper, right? Even 2 months, that's $10 to check out all the DLC and have fun with it and stuff like that, right? But if you're a real diehard person, more than likely you probably own most of that DLC, I would assume. Maybe not all of it, but probably most of it. So I would assume this really targets more people that don't own the DLC or new players, right? But I mean, if you've been playing it since 2013, you more than likely own most of that DLC, if not all of it, right? Especially if you're a diehard Payday 2 player, you probably own most of that DLC.
Yeah. I think a subscription service for DLC is a hard sell unless you're one of these companies like Starbreeze or Firaxis or what's the other one that makes
Paradox, Piranha Bytes or whatever. Is it Paradox? Or it's Paradox. Yeah, Paradox.
Yeah. That just drops like a massive amount of DLCs for everything they put out. That might be worth it, right? I have kept up mostly. I will say that I don't have every one of them, but I have probably 85% of the DLCs for Stellaris. But they just dropped so many of them. I'm like, I can't keep up. That might be, it wouldn't be worth it for me, but somebody new getting into Stellaris or, like you said, Heist 2, a $5 try it out. My only problem is that I'm one of these players who don't buy DLCs hardly at all. But there are a few games, like I mentioned, Stellaris, that is just a long running thing that I will buy it for. I kind of want to just play it at my own leisure, and I don't want to pay $5 to download it and be like, okay, I'm going to try out this DLC this month. And so I much rather own it. And usually, like the Stellaris thing, I wait till they do a bundle sale. They're like, here's a $50 bundle that contains the last 5 years of material or something.
Right. I'm the same way. Like, I'll wait. If I want DLC, I'll wait for it to go on sale, and then I'll buy it at cheap price, and just own it. And I would do the same thing here. Like, if you're listening to this and you're really interested in the DLC right now, all of it's on sale. You can get the entire bundle for $80, but you can then go in there and pick and choose what you want out of it and still probably spend a pretty cheap amount at the moment.
Yeah, it looks like the most expensive DLC in here is like $5.
Yeah.
Most of them are the $2 and below variety. So.
Right. And like a couple in there were like 79 cents or something like that. So,
yep. So, and those look like mods.
Like I said, I don't want it to become a trend among developers to do this type of subscription service, right? For DLC.
It'd be a hard sell for any game that doesn't have a library of DLC already, I would think. Because, like, if
either a library of DLC already out, like Stellaris, like you're saying, or like Payday, or if they were going to do it off the onset, they would have to be consistent with the amount of content that's coming out.
But I'm not going to pay you $5 a month when you put out even like Stellaris and Payday, they didn't put out a DLC a month, right?
Right. But if you started out doing a subscription for that, you would have to. It'd be like an MMO, right?
It would be MMO at that point, right? But my problem is that it's like, okay, I'm not going to pay you $5 in the first month when you don't have any DLC out, right?
Right. Because MMOs like Final Fantasy or World of Warcraft, you have to pay a monthly subscription to, right? And the community expects content drop at least once a month, right? If not more than that, but at least once a month. I'm paying you, so I should get content patches, various things like that, events, content drops, events, stuff like that going on every single month. I'm paying you for this service, and you need to provide the service I'm paying you for.
Right. Yeah.
So, and that's why games like World of Warcraft, but besides being good games, World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy continue to have players, is because they continually put out content. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And keep that player base happy, or at least as happy as they can be.
I don't see like, I was just about to say, I don't see a game like Yotai, Ghost of Yotai as an example, just because it's the most popular, one of the most anticipated popular games that's coming out like next week, I think, right? Something like that.
Yeah. Next week.
So I'm like, I don't see a game like that being successful with going, hey, we have a $5 DLC subscription. I'll be like, oh, you do? I'll just wait till you release all your DLC and put $5 into it. Those games release season passes, and season passes are like, hey, we're going to put out 3 DLCs within the year one or whatever, and you get all of them by buying the season pass, which I typically don't do anyway. Maybe if a game like Yotai had, because I love Ghost of Tsushima, so I hope Yotai is just as good as that one. But
it's getting good reviews.
It's off top, yeah, it is, and I'm ready for that one. That's my next like dive into game that I'm ready for. But So yeah, I mean, I don't see this being hopefully this is not a trend. I mean, these guys aren't the first to do it, but I hope this doesn't become a trend, because it really just feels like, I don't know, it just feels like any way they can make money. I do and I don't have a problem with this. Is the hard thing about it. I'm like torn, right? Part of me says you're just trying to milk gamers for more money, but at the same time, I'm like, hey, you can enjoy that content for $5 instead of $100.
Instead of $100.
Yeah.
So really, it's not like. Yeah, I know. I know exactly what you mean. Like on one hand, it's like it's not a bad deal. On the other hand, it's like, but I don't like it.
I don't like it because it's change, right? It's change,
right?
And I don't want this to I don't want this to take
and another
off.
subscription service, right? We don't need another subscription.
I don't want this to take off with the games that put out like 2 DLCs or something.
Right.
And like Nick said, try to hide this stuff behind a paywall of an additional paywall of some type.
Right.
Which I think gamers would probably riot at the doorsteps if they did something like that. Like Payday says you can't get any of their DLCs unless you pay their monthly subscriptions.
Right.
Be
like you can't buy it a la carte. You can just,
right.
you can get the subscription, which gives you the DLC that you can play as you have the subscription. But if you get rid of it, then the DLC goes away.
Right. Yeah. DLCs will never be purchasable on their own. You have to always be subscribed to play them. I'm like, no, that'll be a ride at the doorstep right there, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, I'm torn. I really am torn. I think raising the price of the Infamous Collection bundle is definitely a dirtbag move.
Right.
I don't know what the point of that is.
It would be easier for them if they would have, they could have raised the price, right? If they would have said something beforehand. And I know they don't want to do that because they don't want to give people the option to go out and buy it cheaper
before the price jumps up.
But, you know, that would give more save face for their subscription service to the fan base and to others if they said, hey, this is what we're planning on doing, and be more transparent about it. Then whenever it happens, people aren't like, what the hell? You know, because they already knew.
It just looks shady as all hell that you raise the price at the same time you release a subscription. So we all know that was the tactic, but it doesn't make sense to me. It's like, hey, your subscription at $5, I don't think it was going to force anybody to go, well, I'd rather buy the bundle, right? Because $100, you know, at the end of the day was still a lot for a bundle of DLCs. So I don't know. I really don't think that, because in the end of it, what do you take that $100 divided by 5, and that's how many months you have to subscribe to have gotten that worth. Some people do that kind of math. They're like, I'd rather buy this for 2 months and play with my friends, and then if we ever come back again a year later, we'll subscribe for another month. You know,
right? I mean, you would have to subscribe for 2 years to pay for the price of the Infamous bundle collection
at the old price
$5.
Of the new,
at $5 the new price at $5 a month.
Oh, yeah.
So, but yeah, like if we wanted to play the DLC, let's say we got together and like, hey guys, let's play Payday 2 and let's play the DLC. I would probably just be like, okay, I'll spend $5 for a month of subscription and we'll try out the DLC and try out some of the other crap and stuff like that. And then I'll just cancel it. Right. Yeah. And then cause more than likely after about a month of playing, we'll probably be done and moving on to other things.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. That's what I agree with you. I think that would be the more logical choice. The raising the cost of the Infamous collection, just like I said, I don't remember when the Infamous collection initially released. I don't remember any of that. So, but I don't think they've added, $50 worth of content to justify the price increasing by $50. So, but that's just me. Who knows what thought process went through these? Because all it does in my eyes is make them look shady to their customer base. So
exactly, be more transparent. Then your customer base won't be so pissy. They will still be pissy, but not as pissy.
They won't feel like you're as shady as you really are. You have a little bit more grace. So. All right. Well, Nick, you got anything else on this one before we breeze on away from Starbreeze here?
Nope.
All right. Well, tell us what you think. If you're still playing Payday 2, cool. Let us know what you think about this. What do you think about them increasing the Infamous 2 collection price? And then what do you think about the subscription, slippery slope here that we could be getting into? So let us know what you think down in the comments. And if you're not subscribed, why not? You've reached the end of this episode. So you have hung around long enough hearing us bitch and talk about this game and what's happening that you probably like some of our other content. So just hit that subscription button, hit that bell to get notified when we push out new videos. We hope you enjoyed this episode and hope to catch you in the next one.